Dark Souls is a pretty cool game, isn't it? You've got the zombies that aren't quite zombies, you got the almost unimaginable difficulty curve, you got the dragon that everyone thinks looks like a vagina. Seriously, what is it about female anatomy that makes people so uncomfortable that they gotta turn it into some kind of weird, gross joke? Or maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the statement on society at all and actually does look like a vagina. Who's to say? But what if I told you that for people living with chronic illnesses, the struggles of this game are far too real? Well, not the vagina monsters part, but you know what, forget I said that part. Now, let me put it out there right now that this isn't meant to be some kind of some people have it worse than you discussion. We'll leave that one for your grandma. No, Grandma, I don't want to hear about your trek through the Oregon Trail as everyone you love died of dysentery. I have video games to tell me about that for you. Mostly, I'm just trying to show how well video games can offer a super great perspective on real-world issues like a chronic illness. Or in my case, chronic fatigue syndrome, also known as CFS, since that's something that I'm living through. Boy oh boy, I'm already starting to sound like some student's essay. Oh, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about video games. Specifically, a video game about the epidemic of a curse, bearers of the accursed dark sign, which forces all of its victims back into life upon death, while slowly taking away their livelihood at the same time.
None will have meaning, and you won't even care.
So, you know, that's like a disease. Chronic fatigue syndrome is a disease. So Dark Souls is clearly about chronic fatigue. Whoopie-doo! Blue ribbon. We proved it. Can finally end the video now. Ha! Fake ending, see? That's what we in the industry like to call annoying and not really a joke. Well, let's look a little deeper into this curse then. Oh, and before we get too far into all the excitement of death and plagues, I wanted to point out that I'm using the second game for this video. Don't get me wrong, I definitely enjoy the first game more, what with all these janky controls and aforementioned vagina dragons. But the second game really delves more into the curse and what it means to be a cursed undead. Also, I wrote most of this video before the third game came out, and oh my gosh, I've been writing this for so long, guys. Please save me. The second game also does a much better job integrating the concept of the curse with the gameplay. While the first game only really had the two states of human and undead, the second game added real consequence to dying. So say you're just bopping along, you decide your character should start out naked because you're just that obnoxiously cocky, and eventually you come across a little pit. Well, I've played my Marios before. Jumping is literally the oldest trick in the big old book of video games. Wait, you've never heard of the BOBOVG? No, it's not like there's anything inherently wrong with that, it's just... Eesh, have you ever heard of some culture? Anyways, I've just gotta take this running leap and... Whoa. This game isn't like one of those Marios I used to play. Well, that's, fine. I can just try again. Video games are fun and wouldn't in any way punish me for failing the task they set before me. Oh, I can just... Wait. Hey, health bar? I think you're supposed to fill up a little bit more than that. You know, just a smidge. Buddy? No? No, that's fine. You do you and stuff. Dark Souls 2 punishes you. If you don't perform up to its standards, it'll dock your max health every single time you need to respawn. And if you know anything about Dark Souls, it's that the game really doesn't want you to succeed. So the worse you do, the harder the game gets. That doesn't sound right. What about the super guide system? You know that system? That super system? That guides you? You know, White Donkey Kong? Nah. If you want to do well in this game, you have to earn it. Wait, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Oh yeah, that's what literally everyone says to you through your childhood and beyond. If you don't keep up your grades and pursue your interests and keep yourself active and excel at least one thing, then you're gonna be dead in the water. But even then, it's not like failing a quiz or having an off day at work is gonna stop you from your path to success. You can always just come back later and learn from your mistakes to improve yourself. It's not like the mere act of being present at school or work could take such a massive energy out of you that you need days to recover or else you'll just come back worse and worse. Except that's exactly how CFS, fibromyalgia, and POTS all function. You're not at the top of your game while taking a test? Well, then it's going to be even harder taking it again without time to recover. You die to an enemy mob in Dark Souls 2? Well, it'll take even less time to grind your zombie butt into the ground next time. Now, in real-life chronic illness cases, we use the term spoons as a way to quantify how much energy we have left to accomplish tasks. And in Dark Souls, we have human effigies. These are the only way you can restore your life bar to full, and basically without them you're screwed, and it's impossibly difficult to accomplish anything because you're not operating at full capacity. Wow, that sure does seem to be a fitting metaphor for having low spoons. Huh. It's almost like I planned this or something. I mean, I didn't. There's no script. I'm just winging it, honestly. Like, I don't, like, take a year to write a script for a stupid video you're putting on the internet? No. Not me. Why am I doing this? And being undead doesn't just affect your life bar, it also restricts co-op mode, creating a feeling of isolation akin to those crappy sick days where you can't even leave the house. You know, or sick weeks, months, 3 years. Oh, but red phantoms can still attack you? Oh yeah, that's fine. Kick me while I'm down. I don't really care. That's whatever. This is why they changed completely the PvP system in Dark Souls 3 to read that. The form the undead curse takes from a lore standpoint also gives off some pretty intense CFS / fibromyalgia vibes. You show up in this world desperate for an answer to your disease, losing your family and even your sense of self. At least I think that's what this intro sequence is trying to portray. I'm pretty sure you didn't actually marry and give birth to wax figures. Although I do really like the implication that whenever you play as a female character, that character is automatically a lesbian. That's some pretty good LGBT almost representation right there. And in real life, when you're starting out with your illness, you really have no idea what your body's doing. With all sorts of people in your life telling you that it's depression, or you're too lazy, or you're overreacting, it really does alienate you from both them and yourself. Not to mention it's really confusing because your body's acting up for what seems like no discernible reason at all. Almost as confusing as the way Dark Souls presents its lore to you.
Once, the Lord of Light banished dark and all that stemmed from humanity. And then assumed a fleeting form. These are the roots of our world.
Oh, why thank you, giant fire bramblehead, for telling me whatever you just said. Actually showing up in the main city Majula doesn't help much either. Now you're just surrounded by a bunch of NPCs talking at you about stuff that sounds like it would be important if it made any sense at all. Oh yes, of course. I gotta usurp the throne and prove myself a true monarch. Excuse me, because I'm no expert, but I have no idea what you're thinking. And in real life, doctors aren't that much more helpful. Okay, so you're gonna prescribe me 0.1 milligram fluticasone per day, as well as 100 milligrams of doxycycline twice a day, but make sure you don't take that one with food. But also, if you get nauseous, you should take it with food. Ooh, I'd also recommend serofloxacin to take with doxycycline, but you don't have to, but it would help. But I can't prescribe it, you'd have to buy it directly from us. Ooh, and don't forget acupuncture, and why don't we try some IV infusions of magnesium and glutathione? Ah! Let me live my life, I want to play video games, I don't want all this quest text. Hey. And the only people who aren't constantly telling you what you need to do are just other people who have the curse and have given up all hope already. And boy, if the game's difficulty doesn't do its best to make you feel the very same way. Everyone's depressed in this game, even the world is dank and drab. And who wouldn't be depressed with what feels like the unending physical torment of a chronic illness? Or curse. You can't see it, but I'm doing that thing where you win in charades and you touch your nose. You get me? Am I making this correlation too obvious yet? Should I keep going? Should I go? Am I making this correlation too obvious yet? Whoa, hang on, guys. Jeepers flippin' creepers. I'm sorry, everyone. I tried so hard to play enough Dark Souls 2 to get footage for this, but now that the third game's out, I just can't go back to this one. So, you know what? Why don't we just... Bah! There we go. So, we will still mostly be talking about Dark Souls 2, but now I won't feel like ripping my eyes out. Carry on. But if you're still not convinced that not only the curse, but the entire course of this game is analogous with the journey of a chronic illness person, well, good, because I still have a lot more planned for this video, and it would kind of be awkward if I, made my point before finishing my point, So you've escaped your wife and child and jumped into this world of annoying people and sad everythings. You've got to have some kind of motivation to put up with all this crap, right? Well, legends say that the king of this ruined land, King Vendrick of Drain Lake, had found a cure. And in true Western-style fantasy fashion, everyone thinks that they're the one who's gonna retrieve it from him. And every single one of them died. Again and again. But you're different, right? You can get the cure. I mean, maybe. Like, no one before you could do it, and it looks like no one believes in you, and, they're probably right. Is there even a cure for a chronic illness? I mean, you see all these vlogs like how I cured chronic fatigue, and cured chronic fatigue in 3 months. But from where you're standing, it all feels like a bunch of nonsense and lucky breaks. So after jumping through all these hoops just to get a doctor's appointment, kingly audience, I mean, he's just some big disappointment who doesn't live up to all these great stories. Later on, you travel into the king's memories by magic and discover that in his youth, he did actually know a cure. But of course, just like it can't be simple enough to visit one doctor and get a prescription you need, getting the king's cure to the undead curse has you go all over the far reaches of the kingdom before you can get his help. Of course, first we have to go retrieve the crowns of the ivory psychologist and the sunken cardiologist and the old iron gastroenterologist. But sweet Krispy Kreme donuts if it isn't worth it to finally bring all the crowns back to the spooky big king man who died a long time ago and receive the king's blessing, which blesses all 3 of those crowns, as well as his own crown, with the cure to the undead curse. Holy mother of moly, wait till my wife and wax-melting child hear about this. Wait, so why would the main goal of the entire game be achieved by a side quest? Like, can't my character just go back to Majula where all their friends are waiting to succumb to the curse and cure them one by one until it's a happy, thriving world again? Well, that's explained by Body of Vidia's DLC ending explained video. Right there. Click the thing, because he's pretty great. The crowns are a treatment of symptoms, not a cure. You can still die, and you'll still be forced to come back, doomed to cling for life, for eternity, as you lose your loved ones in time. All this incredible cure really does is help you, and you alone, feel a little bit better. You may still be human after getting killed by this lady, but come back and she's still trying her absolute darndest to make your life just the biggest gosh darn pile of pain she can. And you'll never guess what else can be treated but not cured. Come on, we're on Final and Double Jeopardy right now. We've literally bent the entire structure of this game show just to make stakes higher than anything else in Jeopardy history.
The answer is CFS, by the way. But make sure you phrase it in the form of a question. Alex Trebek is a real butt and will definitely kick you out of the studio if you don't. Then you'll just be known as that one guy who got kicked off Jeopardy, and honestly, nobody wants that.
What is CFS? Well, you could say that chronic fatigue is, quite literally, chronic. Sure, you can pump loads of medications and supplements and IV infusions into a CFS patient, assuming you're a doctor. If you're not medically trained, then please don't go around shoving stuff into random strangers who you think might have a chronic illness. And hey, maybe 1 or 2 of those pills or herbs may actually help you feel better. But it's not going to vanquish your illness from your body. And chances are, whatever helps you won't do much for someone else with your exact same condition just because of how completely unpredictable most illnesses can be. But maybe you don't want to bother going through some massive side quest where you have to play through all 3 several hour-long DLCs. Maybe you don't mind missing out on great content like this guy. Whoa, can you teach me how to do that? Can you? Hello? Ooh, you know what? I think he may not be able to hear me because he might actually be dead. But no, I get it. Maybe you don't mind missing out on sick death tricks like this. Maybe you didn't get Scholar of the First Sin edition and don't want to deal with shelling out the cash for expensive antibiotics. I mean, downloadable content, which gives you the mystical cure. But yeah, even if you want to just get by in life, you gotta go through way more crap than the average bear to accomplish even simple tasks. Like taking a shower without a shower seat, or walking outside without a cane, or getting to the giant castle in the background without gathering the souls of great beasts to open a mystical gate, because for some reason you can't walk over 2 feet of rubble, because apparently your curse means you can't walk over some pebbles. I mean, I guess actually my illness would make it pretty hard to traverse something like that too. So to definitively answer my rhetorical question from about 2.5 pages ago, no, there is no real cure for chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, or any of it. But that's okay. And would you believe it? There's an in-game metaphor explaining that too, in its endings. It would also really help right now if you watched Body Video's first Sin Explained video before this. That's another video of his. It's also pretty dang good, because he's just, good at what he does. Click the link over there, and, check it out, then come back. As well as his ending explained video, and DLC ending explained video, which I already linked to you before. And while you're at it, why not browse some of his other lore videos, because there's so much to the Dark Souls world. But since it's going to take you an hour minimum just to watch through those 3 core videos, I'm going to do my best to offer you a quick, heavy-handed rundown of what you need to know using way too many words and half the effort that he used. But basically, the world started in an age of pure gray where nothing lived or died and all that existed were dragons, until the Flame of Life started, which brought the main bosses of Dark Souls 1 into power, with the ancestor to all humans getting the smallest amount of power, the Dark Soul, and having to constantly divide that power through all of their descendants, i.e. the entire human race. A lot of stuff happened, including the entirety of the first game, and basically it turns out that whenever the flame is blazing, aka the Age of Fire, the humans can die no problem. But it also means that only those with the most powerful souls may lead, which basically oppresses all of humankind. That's not super accurate, but the lore is so complicated that I'm just gonna say that's the case. However, when the flame starts to go out, which actually isn't a metaphor and is actually a literal flame that the ruler of the kingdom covets, then the curse starts to re-emerge and more people lose the ability to die and eventually lose all their sanity. So basically, for the past several hundred, or maybe even several thousand years, the whole world has been in this vicious cycle where the most powerful person in the kingdom lights the fire in order to rule and establish a golden age. The flame fades and everyone starts suffering again, and then a new person who's done with all this curse and oppression nonsense usurps the king and either relights the flame until it starts fading again, or leaves it to keep fading until someone else usurps them. Oh gosh, that explanation was a lot. I hope I haven't lost absolutely everyone, but fortunately that's as much lore as we need to cover for this video. Give yourself a pat on the back for surviving through that onslaught of words and take a water break. You can't drink too much water. So when the fire's burning, people are healthy, and when it starts to go out, it's unhappy times for the humans. And guess what? You're just the unhappy human everyone's waiting for to take over control of the fire. Assuming you're able to kill your way up the chain of command. Dark Souls did a 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 Dark Souls. I don't know how it goes. Also, I'm probably gonna get copyright strikes. The endings. Ugh. So let's assume you're amazing at video games and you finally ascended the throne and now everything's awesome. You overcame that adversity despite your curse or illness. You can finally make the world right. Whether you decide to relight the flame and end the curse for a time, or let its embers die out and let the world go on a new path, you finally have control of the world's destiny. And what? Playthrough 2? You're making me do all of that again? The world's still in this constant cycle, and forcing you to restart the game immediately is kind of showing you that that's still the case. Even you, the all-powerful and impressive protagonist, can't change the very nature of the world. One way or another, a new ruler will come up and the world will keep cycling, same as always. Just as no matter what you do, no matter how much work you've accomplished, or how much fun time you've spent going out with friends, you'll have relapse days where you simply can't function. When you finally beat that really hard boss fight, it's only a matter of time before another even harder boss comes along and you get stuck again. Your battle with your illness is an eternal internal struggle to keep your fire lit as long as possible. Even though it can never stay burning strong, it can never run out either. Looks like if you have CFS, your body's just stuck in the same feel-good then feel-bad cycle that the whole world of Dark Souls is in. And there's no changing that. It's impossible to change the fundamental basics of your body. Being chronically fatigued is literally being trapped.
lost everything. But the question remains. Which you tell me? Light, dark, or something else entirely?
But we aren't just anyone, are we? We went all the way out of our way to get the king's blessing. We can keep our undead symptoms in check. We have the middle ground to choose neither light nor dark, and neither downswing nor upswing of energy. To live life consistently active so we can actually enjoy ourselves and not suffer the consequences from it. Aldia, the scholar of the first sin himself, shows us that the cycle is breakable if managed correctly. Our character has immunity to the cursed symptoms, something no one else has managed to do before us. A real opportunity to live a symptom-free life, as long as you don't, overdo it and get usurped again. Because even with your symptoms in check, it is possible to overdo it and swing yourself back into the ups and downs of chronic health issues. And Dark Souls 3 proves that even with eternal life, it takes a few cycles of fire for real change to occur. It's uncertainty, but at the same time it's safety. And it's what people who live with chronic illnesses use to keep ourselves going. Keep willing to move forward while we can in hopes to circumvent fate, even if it's impossible to know if it'll last. Ooh, wow, that was heavy. Maybe I should lighten up for the next bit. Even in the little things from just player-to-player interactions or small things mentioned by in-game characters, these games really just ooze with chronic illness juice. Ew. Like, how about Darkstalker Koth from the first game? This guy's leading a bunch of cursed undead on missions to kill other people just to keep their sanity intact. Because even medical professionals, or gross primal serpent things, have no real idea of how to treat these kind of illnesses. Or what about how every single thing you hear about this game is that it's the hardest game you'll ever experience ever? And it sounds like they might be right, but then you learn how to manage it the same way you learn how to manage your illness. Or think about how sometimes it feels like people are only out there to make you miserable, like with certain companies criminally underpaying employees with disabilities or illnesses. While in Dark Souls, you can get invaded by other actual players at almost any time. And you can often come across some really creatively cruel players trying to ruin your game. And let's not forget about jolly cooperation, where even in your most difficult moments, or most difficult bosses, sometimes you just really need to surround yourself with friends to help you along your journey. Often you just need to be in contact with people who support you and want you to emotionally and physically be as well as you can be. Especially if you've been stuck on the same rude boss for almost 3 hours and are on the verge of crying out of frustration. All you really need is a couple of chums to help you through while singing Hamilton as a pick-me-up. I am not gonna die to him. I am not gonna die to him. Hey, I'm the chosen undead, and there's a lot of red, and I'm not gonna die to him. Uh-huh. 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 Well, fine. Not like it's even worth the time. Dark Souls really is a masterpiece that's often overshadowed by its frequently overexcited fanbase or supposedly godly difficulty. But through and through, it really means so much more than just its difficulty. It lets you live and truly experience the story of someone who feels like less than an underdog. Someone whose afflictions appear too overbearing to face up to adversity in life. And it puts healthy people into that kind of unknown position like nothing else before it has. And it goes beyond that to show the people with those illnesses that their illness is not the end of any future accomplishments. Without these games, I wouldn't have had the inspiration or motivations to make these videos. I would have just been stuck bedridden watching YouTube videos all day. Even in taking over 7 months to write the script and well over a year to produce this video, Dark Souls helped teach me that any progress is good progress, and it feels all that much sweeter to have finished it. So whether you have a loved one with CFS, or deal with a similar chronic illness yourself, or even just want to learn about how such afflictions affect the day-to-day life of someone with an illness, Dark Souls is an incredible game worth playing, or replaying for many, which teaches values beyond its surface-level video gaming nature. Also, it's like a really good game and it's really deep and fun to play and it's well designed, but that's not actually what this video is about, so anyway, bye. Can you believe it? Over a half a year between videos and I still don't have a proper end slate designed. What I do have, though, is a link to my first video right there, and also, I have a stunning personality. And now, as a reward for sticking with me to the end, here's some fun outtakes for you. What, you've never heard of the BOBOVG? BOBOVG. B-O-B-O-V-G. B-O-B-O-V-G. Whoop-de-doo! Blue ribbon! That's disgusting. Oh! This game isn't one of those Marios I used to play. I said Mario. And if you know anything about Dark Souls, is that it really, really doesn't want you to succeed. Oof. To succeed. I'm Abraham Lincoln. I don't want you to succeed. Dark Souls Abraham Lincoln. To live life and breathe air, because I know somehow we're gonna get there and feel so wonderful. And still not suffer the consequences from it. Oh, but red phantoms can still attack you. Yeah, no, that's fine. Kick me while I'm down. It's fine. Fine. Oh, spits everywhere. Oh gosh, I shouldn't swear. And then a new person who's done with all this curse and oppression nonsense usurps the king and either real. Why is it so hard to make words? Why is it so hard to make words?